Another place is, and this is notorious, anybody that fishes a lot of boat dock, they always hear about the ladders. Fish like to suspend on any ladder or any object that hangs off a dock. So if you see a ladder, pitch your worm, pitch your jig over by that ladder, run your spinnerbait by it, whatever, and there's a good chance for a strike. Something I key on also is if you see a dock that has these fishing chairs on it. There's chairs here, there's some fishing seats over there. Those all indicate that whoever owns this dock is a fisherman. And if a fisherman owns the dock, more than likely he's planted brush around the dock to attract the crappie. They've also got a fish cleaning sink up on the boat dock. That's an indication they fish for crappie, and they've got brush piles around the boat dock. Also, you see a fishing boat in the slip. That's another good indication a fisherman lives there. If there was a big old pleasure boat sitting there, there probably wouldn't be near the brush around the boat dock. So you can see as you work your way around a dock, just analyze the dock and think, where might that fish be laying? Where are those shady areas? What's the windy side of the boat dock? You know, is the fish wanting to be on that windy side? Is he wanting to be on the back side? Early in the year, the backside's the key place. Later in the year, you want to get out on these outside corners. That's probably where the fish are laying in a little deeper water. But this is a neat example of a boat dock, and boat dock fishing can be a tremendous amount of fun if you do it right. There's a nice one. Oh, yeah. Oh, come aboard. Oh, nice fish. Hiding way up underneath that dock in the shade. Oh, is he hooked? That fish was exactly where they should be this time of the day. We're looking at about 2 in the afternoon, sun angles high, post-spawned fish tucked up behind the dock, underneath the walkway where a lot of people don't cast. That's where you got to concentrate. Good fish. See if there's another one in there. That's where you need to concentrate your casts, on some of them inobvious places. Dock fishing can be a riot when they get on it. Find them little shady places. Figure out that pattern within the pattern on them boat docks and hang on. Where are you hiding, Mr. Bass? Right in the middle? There you are, right on the end. I knew you were in there somewhere hiding. Yeah, come here. Kind of getting a red fin and tail. Doing a little spawning down there, weren't you? There you go. Got to work every nook and cranny of them brush piles. You just don't really know where they're at. Just sit there and jig it around, and finally you get it in the right little place. And that shows you how small that strike zone can be. I probably was within 2 feet of that fish on 3 or 4 different presentations, and finally when I got it right where he was laying, he finally hit it. And he hit it after I jigged it 3 or 4 times. So patience is a virtue. When the fishing's slow, you need to slow down. More repetition in those spots, the better your chance of probably catching that fish. If you just put it in there and pull it out, you maybe go all day long without getting a bite. But once you figure out the mood those fish are in, figure out how long you need to shake it, how long you need to leave it there, it can get pretty easy and you can trigger more strikes that way. When he hit it, he was mad at it. This particular lake, the main cover source is boat docks. It's one of your main options as far as places to catch bass, crappie, bluegill. They're all centered. Each dock's almost like a fish sanctuary of some sort. Every lake has several different cover options to fish, but on this particular lake, boat docks are a real good one because there's so many of them. They don't get a lot of pressure. You take a lake that's just got a handful of boat docks, they'll probably get pounded to death by anglers, and they may not be a real good fishery. But on this particular lake, you can catch fish on boat docks year-round. Only thing that changes is which docks you select. In the springtime, seek out docks that are in the coves or the pockets. Those are usually more productive. In the fall, coves can be all right, but I like the docks up on the flats, especially on the main river channel or the main lake part. Summertime, get on those main lake steeper docks. They got, anywhere from 15 to 30 foot of water on the front edge. Wintertime, I like the docks that are on the steep rocky banks, especially on the ends of bluffs where you have a little channel swing. A lot of fish will just pile up. They'll be grouped up. When you finally find them under one of any of those winter dock situations, you'll catch several of them out of one spot. There's one laying right up by that seawall. Come aboard. Right on the corner of that little old seawall. Something else you always want to do, and I definitely do when I'm fishing tournaments, is when I'm going from one dock to the next, I'm always trying to find a target in between to keep my bait in the water. You can't catch a fish if your bait's out of the water. There's no doubt about that. And wherever you have a change in the bank, whether it's chunk rock going to pea gravel or the end of a bluff, boy, always get a bait in there. This particular place was the end of a seawall, and that fish was sitting right on the corner. He never let that jig get to the bottom. There's a nice one. Oh, right in that wood. Nice fish. Boy, these brush piles beside these boat docks can be awesome. Where you going, fish? Come on, where are you going? Come here. All right. Whew. And boy, he was hooked nice. On the back side of that brush pile, just kind of flipped the jig up over the limb, and I was bouncing it up and down, and all of a sudden it just got heavy. Just a typical jig bite. That's a nice bass there. Want to go back in that log, do you? Oh, yeah, you do. These fish, on certain days, they'll be up underneath the docks, and on other days, they'll pull out from them docks and get on these little scattered pieces of wood, brush pile. What we've got here in this pocket is a lot of trash is drifted in around these docks, and we've got these bright sunny days. The fish are just finishing up spawning, and they're sitting on those isolated targets beside the boat docks. I would say in another week to 2 weeks, they'll probably leave that wood, and they'll get underneath more shade, way up underneath the boat docks, and then we'll have to go to skipping that jig up there. But right now, if you can find a piece of brush next to a boat dock and get that jig in there, some of them will hit it on the fall, but most of the better fish we're catching, you let it go to the bottom, you pick it up, and you just jig it up and down. And I think part of the key is the jig's got that rattle in it. The Pro model, I'm just sitting there shaking it up and down, and every time I shake it, it goes click, click. And I just think they finally get mad and hit the bait. But, boy, when that fish hit it, he didn't clobber it. I just went to pick up on it to shake it again, and there was a little bit of weight there. And, boy, when you feel that weight, you need to come back and set that hook. And when you go over that brush to set the hook, you always got to remember this, and that's retie. Because about 2 feet up, where I set the hook against that brush, right there it is, you've got a real rough spot in your line. You can even see it way up here. That rough spot will get you in trouble when the next big one bites. So take your 2 or 3 foot of line, get rid of it, retie, and you're going to be ready when that next big fish bites. That's Fun jig fishing. A lot of people are very uncomfortable fishing docks because they're easy to hang a lure up on. The casting angles can be very difficult. There's just a lot of negatives to fishing docks, but once you get comfortable with them, boy, you can really catch some nice fish. It's just a great cover option for the fish, offers the whole food chain, a lot of shade, a lot of cover options just in a small area. But it takes repetition. It's like any other form of fishing. The more you fish docks, the more comfortable you're going to get with the dock fishing techniques. And we're just basically showing you a couple of techniques on how to fish them today, but it's endless. You can crankbait the ends of docks, you can spinnerbait them, you can use topwater lures around them, skip floating worms, soft plastic jerk baits up underneath them, use hard jerk baits. You know, any lure technique usually applies to dock fishing at certain times of the year. So don't get real close-minded and think that the only way you can fish docks is to pick a flipping stick up and a jig like what we're doing right now, because it's a great way, but it's not the only way.